Hey Five, I'm here today to help you with your maths task. Now you have been asked to find the volume of 3D shapes, and in particular cubes and cuboids. Now cubes and cuboids are kind of like square or rectangular box shapes. So I've had a look in my house for some cube and cuboids, and I found this speaker which I use to plug into my sound system to make things a little bit louder. I have found this photo frame, which is quite a deep photo frame. This is like a cuboid shaped photo frame, and a box of cereal is also a cuboid. So when you are asked to find the volume of 3D shapes, you are being asked to find how much space is inside that shape. So it's really similar to when you are asked to find the area of 2D shapes. Now 2D shapes are flat, and we looked at rectangular and squares in particular last week. But 2D shapes mean they have 2 dimensions. So 2D means 2 dimensions, which is length and width. So you have to multiply the length by the width to find how many squares would fit inside. So if we had 7 by 5, then you would multiply 7 by 5 to get 35 centimetres squared. So the area is finding out how many squares would fit inside that shape. Volume is exactly the same thing, except we are finding how much space is inside a 3D shape. Now, 2D shapes are flat, so they have the width and they have the length. Just like 3D shapes, we have the length across the bottom, we have the width, but they also have the depth. So these are 3D shapes, they have that extra dimension, which is the depth. So we need to multiply length by width and then by the depth. So let's have a go at finding the volume of some of these shapes, and then hopefully it will help you with your maths task today. So let's say I wanted to find the volume of this cereal box. I needed to find the length, I needed to find the width, and I needed to find the depth of this box. So I have actually measured this exactly with my ruler. The length of the cereal box is 29 centimetres. The width of my cereal box is 18 centimetres, and I did in fact measure the height, or the depth, sorry, of the cereal box, which is 5 centimetres. So to find the volume of this shape, I would need to multiply the 3 dimensions together, which would be 29 by 18 and by 5. Now this is a little bit tricky to do, so I'm just going to change the numbers for this question, so I can show you a more realistic example of what a year 5 volume question would look like. Let's say, and now I'm going to write, this is not to scale, this is not accurate, okay? I'm going to keep 5 here, I'm going to turn this to an 8, and I'm going to turn this to a 10. So let's change these numbers, and let's say my Weetabix box is 10 centimetres by 8 centimetres by 5 centimetres. So you can either choose to do the first 2 numbers and multiply them by each other and then multiply by the last number, or if you wanted to, you could do it backwards. So you could do 8 by 5 first, which is 40, and then multiply it by 10. These 2 answers will be the same. So you can choose which order you multiply them by. Okay, so let's start with this one and let's just test to see if we will get the same answer. 80 times 5. Well, I know that 8 times 5 is 40. And 80 is 10 times bigger than 8. So I need to add my 0. So my answer needs to be 10 times bigger, which is 400. And I'm dealing with centimetres. Now I'm going to put a little 3 up here, not a little 2, and I'm going to explain why in a second. Let's just double check and see if 5 times 8 times 10 is the same as 10 times 8 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 times 10 is 10 lots of 40, which is 400. So yes, so that just proves you can use the order in which you write down the numbers, or you can change the order if you find that's easier for you. Now the reason I've put a small 3 here in my answer and not a small 2 is because we are writing cubes, not squares. So when we had to find the area of 2D shapes last week, and this was 4 and this was 6, you were writing 6 times 4 equals 24 centimetres squared. And that's because if I was to split my shape into 4 rows this way and 6 columns this way, I would have 24 squares inside my rectangle. And the 2 is a symbol for squares. However, this is not a flat shape. This is a 3D shape, and therefore we are going to be dealing with 3D shapes inside the space. So this symbol is for cubes, which is the 3D version of squares. Okay, so this week, when you write your answer, we want a little 3 to symbolise that you are finding cubes, because that's a 3D shape, not squares, which is a 2D shape. So our answer is 400 centimetres cubed. Okay, we're going to put reminders of this in your home learning for this week, but I hope that has helped you with finding the volume this week. You are finding the length, the width, and the depth. You are multiplying them by each other in any order, and then you are writing your answer down with the correct unit of measure, followed by a small 3 up high. Good luck with your maths task today, and we look forward to seeing your work. Bye guys.